Good morning all, welcome. It's 11 o'clock on a Tuesday, the 31st of March, 2026. Yeah, April tomorrow. My golly gosh, hasn't the year just gone? And we've only just started club rugby here in New Zealand. We're up to the Easter round coming up this weekend in the Super Rugby. And young Mike is on remote today, so be interested to see what he has to say in the comments. Of course, you can ask away during the show as well. Throw it in the comments and tell me what you think, if I'm talking shit or not, whatever. But anyhow, but yeah, great weekend ahead, and great weekend that's just passed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump straight into everything and talk about the results from last weekend. And but of course, even though I've said ask away and all that, I forgot to lead the show with a big thanks to Foursquare Franz Joseph down there on 24 Main Street, Highway 6, Franz Joseph. Visit the team at their Facebook page, and you never know, we might even get Josh commenting or even one day on the show. He's very active on the Sky breakdown, and he gets them giggling away. So yeah, I do watch the show, Josh, that you keep commenting to. How about throwing a few comments our way? But otherwise, it's back on with the show. And last weekend, huge results there. Took them a while to get going, and it was a bit of a, well, let's just be honest, a shit show there at North Harbour with the power going out. But then what annoys me is the power might have been out, but it looked really good. A floodlight was down and Sky couldn't show it, so they stopped the game. I mean, I've been watching rugby a long time, a very long time. Going back 50 years, I've watched the rugby. Even when the lights went out at Murrayfield. Do you remember that game, people, back in the 80s? The game continued in the dark. Why did they stop the match? Why did they just not keep going? Do you really, really need technology today to run a game of rugby? Looking at the figures, the streaming videos from Moana Pacifica and other avenues that were showing, it looked still playable to play that game without interruption. So yeah, someone completely dropped the ball there, and it was a bit of a. I found that really disappointing, that a game of rugby can be interfered by technology. It's sort of like they could have carried on that game without interruption. Literally. They still would have had video cameras video in it. Except, oh, yeah, it is really, really crazy. If you think I'm being crazy, throw it in the comments, and I will, I'll, you know, come back to it. But anyway, the Highlanders did get up by 39 points to 19, and we all picked it. Yep. But what we all didn't pick was the game afterwards, and the Brumbies celebrating Slipper's 100th game, and the first player to be a double centurion for two Super Rugby franchises. The Waratahs, wow, heck, they played out of their skins, didn't they? And got up with a tight 30-28 win over the Brumbies. I think 1% of people in the world picked the Waratahs to win this on Super Brew. It was a crazy number. So that's really now opened the table a little bit more. And then, of course, on Saturday, we go to the mighty Hurricanes. And, wow, they finally get to play a top team, i.e. the Queensland Reds. Sure, they've only played one New Zealand team, and I'm sure that's all going to come back and bite them on the bum later in the season. But at the moment, they're making every post a winner. And it was a case of, I think it was 24-14 at halftime. and they came out and totally dominated the Reds in the second half. Whatever Clark Laidlaw was saying to them in the dressing room at halftime seems to be working, because the Hurricanes in every game this year have come out a better team in the second half. They've got to stop these, flip passes and all that sort of stuff. They've got to start looking at doing the, set up the ball. You don't have to throw away every ball every time you get tackled. But yeah, huge win, 52-14 to the Hurricanes. And then after that, we had the Blues beating the Drua at 15-14 or 14, whatever it was. I was going, oh, come on, Drua, you can do it. And then they lost their passports again, basically. And the Blues got a win, 40 points to 15 over the Fijian and Drua. And then in a very tight match, and the Chiefs are looking wobbly. Sure, they've got injuries. Sure, they've been swapping their players around and playing B teams and stuff like that. They still walked away with the win in Perth there by 24-14. But the result, I believe, didn't actually show the true thing of the game. I thought the Force played really, really well. And the Chiefs, I believe, played really, really badly, but still walked away with the victory. So how did that affect the table? Everyone's wondering. So now we have two teams totally clear at the top, the Hurricanes and the Blues, the Evil Empire, both up there on 25 points, with the Hurricanes, and I'll blow that up a little bit more so people can see, the Hurricanes there with a very handy point differential of almost 70 points over the Blues. And, of course, that is their next match, I believe, in a couple of weeks' time. So they have the bye this week. The Brumbies, well, they just sit there in third place by themselves after their defeat. Queensland, even though they got beaten, sit there in fourth place on 18. The Chiefs move up the table there into 17th. The Crusaders, who had a bye, they've dropped a place to 6, so the Chiefs and the Crusaders have swapped places there. And to keep them in the hunt, basically, we've got the Waratahs there in 7th on the same points as the Crusaders. But, yeah, we'll just see how they go moving forward, along with the Highlanders. So you've got the Crusaders, Waratahs, and Highlanders all sitting there pretty. But it's almost like, who's going to be the spoiler here? The Drua, the Force, Moana, Pacifica. It's the cream is definitely rising to the top here, and and we'll see what's what. Have a quick look at the just having a quick look at the comments here that have come through already. So yeah, happy Easter all coming up, and Captain Hurricane. Hey, how good are we going, Captain Hurricane? It's our boys are doing well, like everything. And then, as Mike says, with Easter coming up, everyone, health and safety, they will say, laugh out loud. I think about the, I think he's talking about the thing in Auckland. Health and safety, really? Health and safety, you could see you could see everything. You could even see that one floodlight was out. You could see people talking to each other. And then they had to bring the TMOs down onto the field to keep an eye on everything. So we had, 5 officials on the field? Blow your brains, man. It's just ridiculous. And good morning, Clarence. Always good to see you watching the show. Now, so we'll continue on, and we'll go now and have a look at who is leading the Player of the Year. And they have Quinn Tupaia there, leading with Donaldson on 27 points. Jorgensen and Will Jordan there, even though he didn't play, are sitting there on 23. Tavatavanawai and Tangatau, they're on 22. Whaialangi, Kale and Lonergan there on 20, with Caleb Clark rounding out the table there on 19 points. I mean, the big news this week is everyone saying that Caleb Tangatau should be in the ABs. Again, what I said the other day, let's hope we see a All Black trial, of all the form players, a probables versus a possibles. So Dave Rennie can have a good look and go, you're my team. You know, instead of having these in-house hit-outs, put the guys head-to-head and see how they go before the game against the French in July. So that's my 5 cents worth there. But, yeah, Quinn Tupaia making roads, as they say, as he continues on. So then we have the Rookie of the Year, and he did have a good game, you must admit, on Friday night. Sid Harvey, the young fella out of some little township in New South Wales, clearly leading the way there on 13 points with Lamb and Shearer there on 6, Kodavai on 5, Casey, Ropati and Namosi there on 4 and 3 respectively. I thought Nick Shearer had a great game for the Highlanders, and as I said, Casey, he is definitely an up-and-comer. It's great to see the Heartland boys doing the business there. So if we then have a look at who they believe was the fantasy rugby team of the week on the old fantasy stuff, Lambert, Slater and Botha. So we had 2 Waratah front rowers there, Shaw and Williams there in the locks. A lot of Australians, just one Kiwi there in the tight 5. Duplessis, Karefi and Segner there on the flanks with Walker at number 8. So I still can't figure out how they do all this. And I do have some news actually coming up about our wonderful fantasy rugby competition starting very, very shortly. But in the halves, you had Lamami, Jacob at first 5, which was an interesting choice there. Namosi and Moulton at centres. Where was Tavatavanawai? That was interesting. But it's totally been dominated by the Waratahs, as you can see there. And Fihi, wow, all I can say is I didn't think he would get a hat trick 2 weeks in a row. So I replaced him with Ruben Love. So Ruben Love did all right, but then Fihi went and scored another 3 tries, didn't he? So, again, mind blow. So what else have we got to talk about here today? Okay, so now we will go. I've got it all set up here somehow. We will look at this week's fixtures. And, of course, it's Easter, right? So this Easter, we've only got 3 games on. So plenty of time to eat all those chocolate bickies and all that. And who picks this rubbish? The whole Hurricanes team are in there. Well, that is so true, Mr. Captain Hurricane. I couldn't agree with you more. It is crazy. It is really, really crazy. And Mike Shearer did have a blinder and adds to the mix. He certainly does. But this weekend, the final match at Apollo Project Stadium there, before they move to their brand new digs over there at Te Kaha. And the Crusaders will be taking on the Fiji Drua at 7 o'clock. On Saturday, the Chiefs will be hosting the Waratahs. So that's going to be a welcome, a down-to-earth game for the Waratahs, because the Chiefs have been on the road a bit and they'll be wanting to put on a performance against the Tars. And then the Reds will take on the Force, who the Reds they will need to bounce back. And don't forget, the Force actually beat them last year up there in Suncorp. So that will be an intriguing game to watch on Saturday night. But if I was going to go anywhere here, I'd just have to go all the home teams. There you go. That's as easy peasy as anything, isn't it? Crusaders, Chiefs and Reds for me to win there. And so I'm sure there'll be 4 Crusaders, 4 Chiefs and 4 Reds in everyone's fantasy teams this week, with a spattering of maybe Waratahs and maybe a couple of Force players. So that's my sort of tip there for that particular weekend. So all the home teams, pretty much. And then, as Mike is saying, Saders should win it, but everyone loves a spoiled party. Well, that's true. But yeah, I would definitely normally say, yeah, Drua, let's go, but I think they're just going to get wiped off the field. Now, I'm unsure. They did say earlier that that would be the, if they do, it will be the 100th win for the Crusaders. But I do remember them losing a game there. And so I'll just have to re-dig into the record books and have a look at that. But if it is their 100th win at Apollo Project Stadium, what a way to sign off a venue that has served them well while the new stadium has been talked about, debated about, built, and now only a couple of weeks from opening. So if they can end it with a win, and it is their 100th, well done. As I said, short show today. The rest of the world, what's been happening? Not a lot, except, you know, price of petrol and all that sort of stuff. Club rugby has started around the Motu, and I tell you, it is really, really looking exciting. If you go to Club Rugby website, or clubrugby.co.nz, or clubrugby.nz, shall I say, or their Facebook page, we have set up a tipping competition there for the Wellington Jubilee Cup. Easy to join. Just jump on there. If you were in it last year, all you do is log in and you're away. If you haven't, just log in, your email, put your username in, and you can start picking. And I believe the guys at Club Rugby might have little things to give away. But otherwise, what am I doing today? Well, I have got news from the West Coast. Do have the Jubilee Trophy draw that I've just noticed in my email box. So we'll be getting that up on the Buller page as soon as we possibly can. It was sent to me over the weekend. I've only just seen the email, so apologies for that. And but around the other parts of the world, as I said, Club Rugby is going to be starting in earnest. I think even Wairarapa is starting this weekend. So, you know, keep an eye on that. We're 3 big, huge scores over 100 points. Sometimes you go, oh, and then you think about it and you go, oh, that's not too good, is it? But hey, at least the boys went out there and put on a game, and you know, just get out there and support all your club teams. Having a quick look at the comments that are still thick and fast. So Mike is going, where are we? Tars by 6, Reds by 15, Captain Hurricane saying we gave them a hiding to qualify in 2016, top of the table, of course. All by 10 to the home team, so everyone's on the same thing. Who's got the bye? The Landers, everyone else but Mike. And then we've got Mike saying, few surprises in the combine. No Saturday games this week, Thursday night games. So thanks for that message there, Mike. But continuing with, as I said, so just keep an eye on all their games. We'll try and start bringing you updates on Club Rugby as we can around moving forward with highlights of club scores and stuff like that. But of course, we do have coming up the World Championships, so they call it now, of the sevens. So we still needed 4 teams to qualify from the men and the women to go to Hong Kong, of all places. That will be coming up. And they just had the second division round in Montevideo. And the women there, champions, were the Brazilians, who got up and took out I can't remember who it was now, but anyhow, the qualifiers were, of course, South Africa moved forward, Brazil, Spain, and Argentina. They are all now moving on to the World Championship, where they'll be joining the other 8 teams that are currently in the World Series. Meanwhile, in the men, surprise champions, but sort of not surprise champions at Montevideo was Belgium. They got up over Kenya, and so yeah, huge win there for the Black Devils, as they're known. And so congratulations to the Belgians there. And so the teams that have qualified there, great to see Kenya back on the major world stage. They should always be there. This new format they've got is absolutely ridiculous. And of course, Germany, they may have been relegated in the Rugby Europe from the Premier Division there, but the Sevens team is still going very, very strong. Uruguay, well, they managed to qualify at their own home tournament. And then the United States, well, they've qualified, they've snuck through and qualified for that final as well. So, yeah, and that's about it for the show, really. As I said, we'll just have I'll just throw that up so everyone can see. So, yeah, Chiefs, Crusaders, Drua, Chiefs, Waratahs, Reds, Force. It's going to be a very relaxing weekend. But we will be back on Thursday. Captain Hurricane says, see you next week. So that sounds like we might have a special guest in the show next week. I'd love to catch up with you, Captain, coming down for the big game. And on Clarence, thank you for watching again. And but basically, that's the show. As I said, a short and sweet one today. In closing, for those that are wondering what's happening with the relaunch of World Fantasy Rugby, it's so close. So basically, I've been making sure I've got all my T's crossed and my I's dotted, and been working with a couple of things, and we have now probably got, in the words of AI, the most comprehensive player database it has ever seen. Yep. So we've got over 12,500 players that you'll get to be able to choose your 30-man squad from. And that is from countries far from A to Z, basically. And so keep an eye out, because I tell you, it's going to blow. Those that think they play fantasy rugby, you wait till World Fantasy Rugby gets going. It's probably looking at a draft date of after Easter. It may even, because everyone will be away. So I'm just thinking, okay, let's just tidy all that up. But yeah, just got a few little tweaks to do. And I tell you, it has been a mission. But 12,500 players, everything from their weight to their height to their date of birth to who they play for to whether they're a good player, a bad player. It's all set up and rearing and ready to go. So keep an eye out for that. I will be working with the roadie on that moving forward. But otherwise, that's the show for today. Again, thank you very much to the team at Franz Joseph, at Foursquare Franz Joseph there, for sponsoring our show. And to everyone else, we will see you on Thursday with the three team lineups, 3 game team lineups for this weekend's matches. So yeah, get all those Easter eggs ready, and we'll be rearing to go on Thursday morning, same time, same channel, same back time, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's me finding the end switch. Catch us all on the flip side. Thank you for watching, and yeah, share everything around, as they say. Catch you on Thursday. See you.